Here's the analogy that ChatGPT and I created together. You ready?
Yeah.
Hear me out, Raghunath.
I just spilled my drink. Okay.
You're a spiller.
Oh.
What? Oh, man, that set off. Okay, hear me out. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's the analogy. You're utterly lost, wandering hopelessly within a vast, bewildering maze. Every turn leading to more confusion and frustration. All you possess, Raghunath, is a scroll covered in what seems to be a random jumble of unfamiliar marks, a chaotic mess of lines and dots that only amplifies your sense of being trapped and disoriented.
Man, ChatGPT is pretty good.
Okay.
But so much more articulate than I am.
Okay. But then a profound intuition, a deep leap of faith takes hold. These aren't just random marks. There's a hidden order here, a message, an intelligence that put it there. Armed with this conviction, you narrow your focus. You begin to scrutinize the chaotic marks. Slowly, painstakingly, you start to discern faint repetitions, subtle connections, and emerging patterns within the jumble. What once seemed like a meaningless scribble begins to reveal itself as a complex, intentional script. As these patterns click into place, they transform from abstract symbols into coherent directions. You realize that the quote-unquote random marks are in fact a benevolent map. You mentioned map, Raghunath, right?
Yeah.
Purposely designed to guide you. The scroll, once a symbol of your fragmented and hostile reality, now becomes clear, purposeful, and profoundly helpful. Through this recognition, you not only see the way out of the maze, but you also sense the underlying wisdom and the presence of the designer who laid out both the maze and the guiding message within the marks.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Today is Thursday, June 19, 2025. This is episode 1629, 1629 Srimad Bhagavatam classes. Wow. Welcome to the show.
It sounds like more when you say it like that.
1,629, giving me something to hold on to in times of great joy, times of great sadness, keeping me steady. That's what we do in the Bhagavatam. We lean into the Bhagavatam. Good morning, Kaustubha. How are you?
Morning.
My beautiful
great,
friend.
Raghunath. I'm happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, good. We're doing pretty good here. We got live. We got Henry. We've got Shamali. We've got Vishnu, all traveling through the Super Soul Farm. We got the Bunkster here.
The Bunkster.
The Bunkster. It never ends. And we harvested all the peonies before all the rain. Mara it was like peonies Christmas here. She's just got bucket loads of peonies. Those things go for like $20 in your neck of the woods for one stem.
Did you like decorate the rooms with them, or did you offer them on the altar? What do you do?
Yeah, we've been offering them on the altar, but we're gonna decorate the rooms with them.
Although, you know what I didn't do this year? I used to put my
touch.
deities right on them, like they would rest on pillows of peonies.
Maybe you should make a peonies outfit for them.
You know? My deities are tiny. Peonies are giant.
That makes it easier. Peonies are too big.
You don't understand. They can't. They're bigger than the deities.
Okay.
What's going on in New York, sir?
New York, I don't know. You know, it goes on. It goes on.
Yeah.
I suppose I'm getting ready for heading up there soon. It's already in my mind. And then once I go up there, come back. It's time to
confirm that, man. You coming up? You got to lock it down with the miss.
Well, the miss reached out to me, and I said, "You tell me." You know.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Hey, we just found a Maha golden oyster mushroom score. Now, I know you're not into I know you're not into mushrooms.
All right.
But There's something magical about finding a tree load of golden
Raghunath,
mushrooms.
let's not talk about magic mushrooms, okay? We know you broke your edge
It
on
was
that
magic. It was magical. Okay.
one.
But I got to say, there is something mystical, not just magical, mystical about the
fungi.
mushroom. I think they're from subterranean heavens. If I had to
Mushrooms?
speculate where mushrooms are from, they're from the subterranean heavens.
Okay.
Um,
I think they're rather earthly, but in any case,
no way. No way. They're nothing of they're like octopus. I think octopus. It's very interesting if you try to find the
Octopi?
origin of species. Because everything came from Lord Brahma, but who knows? Things could have been sent from other planets, other planetary systems.
yeah.
Terrence McKenna says the same thing. Thank you. Now we're really going backwards, Bunky.
All right, let's move on to Mary here.
Mara, what news do you have here?
Settle it down. Ground this, Mara, please.
If people have questions and they want to write them in for Q&A day on Saturday at 8 a.m., they can post them on our community chat where there's a questions for the host tab, or they can email us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com.
It's a wonderful way to interact.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Shall we dive into the nugget?
Yes.
What you got, Mara?
Well, this one comes from Plotinus.
Oh, yes.
Platypus? It's a talking platypus. What did he say?
Do you know who Plotinus is?
Plotinus was a scribe, I think.
Scribe.
A Greek scribe?
He was a Greek, do you say Platonist philosopher? Platonist? You say Platonist?
Plotinus?
You know, like follower of Plato?
Oh, a Platonian.
Platonist.
Platonist?
Platonist philosopher. He was born and raised in Roman Egypt, and he's regarded by modern scholarship as the founder of Neoplatonism.
Wait, he was born in Roman Egypt?
In Roman Egypt, yes. And he was born in Egypt when it was part of the Roman Empire.
Very interesting. Huh?
And he's the founder of Neoplatonism, which is interesting. A lot of connections there because among the common ideas is monism, the doctrine that all of reality can be derived from a single principle, the one.
The one.
The one. Right. And that aspect of monism, like we're achintya bheda abheda tattva, right? We believe it's all one in one sense.
Yeah, it's all one, but it's
and
not.
at the same time, but,
But it's actually not. It's actually something. It's not just one.
No, we recognize the oneness.
Well, I think that is. I think it's a very. I think compared to how we've been taught God in the West, when you hear about the one, you're like, now it makes sense. The one. There is just one. But then we say, we're going to take this up a notch. There is one, but the one also has a personality behind it.
Yeah, there's
right.
There's
and well, is it one
distinctions
personality?
within
No, it's millions of personalities. But even the millions of personalities, there's a fountainhead that all the personalities derive from.
Okay. So
must be all powerful. Yes, but a charming little boy too.
No.
That's what we're going to get into today.
Okay. So what does Plotinus have to say?
Plotinus says the charmer of Vrindavan when standing with
Plotinus says
Thank you.
when we look outside of that on which we depend, we ignore our unity. Okay. Looking outward, we see many faces. Look inward, and all is one head. If a man could but be turned about, he would see at once God and himself and the all.
You see, he seemed to get the one and the difference there.
Yeah, he did. Read that again, Miss Mara. Read it like you're doing a dramatic reading, please.
Like you're in a toga. Right now,
like you're in a toga
olive branch
at your
things
private
on your
school.
When we look outside of that on which we depend, we ignore our unity. Looking outward, we see many faces. Look inward, and all is one head. If a man could but be turned about, he would see at once God and himself and the all.
All right, Raghu, what do you got to say?
Self and the all. Plotinus is saying that what he's saying resonates.
It resonates
it's
with
like
you?
The more we look out there to make sense of life, the more fragmented it all seems, right? Like there's so many faces, so many ideologies, like so many maps of directional maps of where to go.
Oh,
So many
Raghunath,
things.
it's very interesting that you said maps, but I'll get to that later. Okay. We're connecting. We're
Are we
resonating.
connecting
The
on a
two of
subtle
us
level?
are one.
Telepathically, perhaps.
Yes, could be.
Telepathy tapes.
Okay.
Come on. Telepathy is so real, Kaustubha. I'm not going to get into it with you, but
I agree that telepathy is real.
okay.
I don't
My
think
mom
every
calls me at the
claim-
same time I call her.
What?
My mom calls me at the same time I call her.
Well, that mother and child connection, Raghunath, there's something to that for sure.
That's telepathy.
Okay.
Anyway, so there's all these maps pulling us
Yeah.
in different directions, right?
Yeah.
But when you turn inward, we remember the source, the one one we actually depend on, and everything then starts to line up. That's what Plotinus is calling the one,
The one.
the one head. I think of that as like the root, the center, the divine source of everything within.
Mhm.
And what I love here is the idea that it's not actually adding more to our lives. It's about turning it around. It's not like I want to add more directions. I want to get pulled in more directions. No, it's about turning it around. Like we're facing the wrong way. Some of the maps are pulling us. Here's the deal. Some people have no map and they're just like bumping into things like those little, what are those little vacuum cleaners called, Mara? The Roombas. You have a Roomba in your apartment. It just like bounces into the wall. And this is what people do with their lives. I don't really know what I want to do, but I think this feels like the right way. This feels like the right way. And they're bouncing into a wall and going in another direction. Bouncing into a wall, another. Yet other people, no. There is a map. There is a program. There is a mission. There is a plan.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful because some of those plans are full speed ahead in the wrong direction, right? So anyway, we're scanning the world for meaning, but the meaning's been within us all along. It's right inside. There is an internal map. And when we reconnect with that source, then something magical happens. We feel grounded. We feel whole. And maybe most of all, we stop being afraid, right? Because a lot of times our fear is rooted in going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Or investing in the things that we know in our hearts or deep down will never actually protect us. We invest in these things, right? Deep down, we understand there's nothing in this world that can actually protect us. So with material investment, there's always going to be anxiety. They're married together.
Thank you, Raghunath. I can picture you in a toga right now.
You probably do that on a regular basis. In togas. You probably make some AI Raghu in a toga.
Well, speaking of AI, Raghunath, I went to AI. I spent some quality time with AI this morning.
I think GPT has replaced me as your best friend.
No. I don't spend that much time, but I thought this was interesting. He's talking about what he's talking about here. I kind of categorize it as Paramatma realization. Realizing that there's something within all of us that ties us all together, right? That in that sense, if we look within, we discover God and we discover ourselves and we discover the one, because that God that's within me is within every living being and within every atom. And you begin to see the unity of all things and your fear dissipates, years ago we did a show where we really worked with this quote by this Native American Black Elk. He wrote the book Black Elk Speaks, or someone put together the book Black Elk Speaks based on his words. And he would talk about the Great Spirit, right? He would say at the center of the universe dwells the Great Spirit. We would say that's Lord Vishnu, right? Mahavishnu.
Yeah.
And that center is really everywhere. And we would say that's like Chiradakshai Vishnu, right? Within every living being, within every atom. That he had this, it's Brahman realization means I realize I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I am spirit. All these designations don't define me. And Paramatma realization is it really gets far out when you get to Paramatma realization. It's a deeper spiritual level wherein you begin to realize that there is this universal intelligence that's tying everything together. And if you can catch on to that, if you can hear about it and then feel it, then your fear dissipates. You begin to realize that everything is being arranged by this divine intelligence, and it's all benevolent. It's all working for me. Even it may be challenging or sometimes painful. It's painful because of my lack of understanding. And I can, if I can put a little faith into this idea, I've been sharing with you, that, I investigate, and I listen to these YouTube videos where atheists are speaking to theists, and you see you kind of examine the way their minds work. And I was thinking about that idea, like going into life with an assumption that there's meaning to it, right? You can go into it with an assumption that there's no meaning and there's nothing tying it together. Or you can go into it, and you can't prove that that's
what's
true.
interesting? What's interesting is these people, there's no meaning to life, according to their philosophy, but that becomes the meaning of their life, to prove to everybody that there's no meaning to life.
That's true. They're religious.
Right?
They can become religious. That's their religion, and they become the evangelists in that realm.
Yeah, and they become the professional skeptics.
Right.
It's like, really? That's who you want to be? The professional skeptic?
Okay.
That's what you want to dedicate your life to?
Okay, but bear with me, Raghunath.
I say believe.
Okay.
Believe.
That's
my T-shirt for the day. Believe.
Believe. Okay.
Instead of saying, no, don't believe. Imagine that T-shirt, don't believe. Don't believe anything.
Where I'm going with it, I'll get there in a second, but for now, let me just say, we could go into life with the assumption that there's meaning and purpose, and it can be figured out. Or we can go into with the assumption that there's no meaning and there's no purpose and there's nothing to figure out. Stay with me, Raghunath. Here, baby, right here. Yeah.
Oh, sweet baby Christmas sticker.
Okay. So now I based on this nugget here, it's talking about an epiphany that we could all experience, right? We're looking outside and everything's fragmented, and it's hard to put everything together, and it gets confusing. And I think nowadays, more than ever before, we are so overloaded with information and distraction that we desperately need to focus, to narrow down our scope. If we're going to get any kind of epiphany, if we're going to understand anything about life, otherwise we're just going to be constantly distracted and confused and have this inner feeling of, like, I don't know, disruption or dis-ease, And so, I asked the AI, I was saying, let's talk about this epiphany. And I asked something like, let me pull up what I had there. Okay, here's my AI prompt. You ready, Raghunath? Stay with me. You're so distracted right now.
I'm not distracted. I was just sticking that sweet baby Krishna sticker on my computer.
Yeah, that was a distraction. You can do that at any time, not while we're engaged in this podcast that thousands of people are listening to. Okay. But here's the prompt. You ready? I think you're going to like this, Raghunath. I said, I'm looking for an analogy that captures the following. So I'm asking it to create an analogy. That the world may be experienced as fragmented, confusing, or even hostile. Mm-hmm. But one can experience a profound spiritual epiphany, and then it's suddenly recognized as coherent, benevolent, and purposeful through identifying a unifying presence. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so then this is the answer that I got. Well, it gave me many. I'm narrowing it down. It gave me all kinds of stuff. But then we began to work together on this one.
You and ChatGPT.
We were working together
as friends.
We were like that. And it paid attention the whole time.
I know you are. You're on ChatGPT.
Listen, it listened to me
more than you talk to me.
Well, ChatGPT listens to me.
It always listens and always gives you the feedback. You never this is the problem with ChatGPT. You're missing out on
Raghunath, I'm missing out on interpersonal relationship with you all the time. Okay, are you frozen or am I frozen now? You were frozen. Okay, Raghunath is frozen for now. So I'm going to read to you the answer that ChatGPT gave to me for that. And here's what we got. You're utterly lost, wandering hopelessly within a vast, bewildering maze. Every turn leading to more confusion and frustration. All you possess is a scroll covered in what seems to be a random jumble of unfamiliar marks. Okay, Raghunath, you're back?
I'm back. Are you okay? What
I'm
happened?
fine. I'm
Well,
fine.
I was giving you great advice. Oh, help me, Bunky. It's okay.
Not better than ChatGPT.
Okay. See.
All right, you ready? Here's the analogy that ChatGPT and I created together. You ready?
Yeah.
Hear me out, Raghunath.
I just spilled my drink. Okay.
You're a spiller.
Oh.
What? Oh, man, that set off. Okay, hear me out. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's the analogy. You're utterly lost, wandering hopelessly within a vast, bewildering maze. Every turn leading to more confusion and frustration. All you possess, Raghunath, is a scroll covered in what seems to be a random jumble of unfamiliar marks, a chaotic mess of lines and dots that only amplifies your sense of being trapped and disoriented.
Man, ChatGPT is pretty good.
Okay.
But so much more articulate than I am.
Okay. But then a profound intuition, a deep leap of faith takes hold. These aren't just random marks. There's a hidden order here, a message, an intelligence that put it there. Armed with this conviction, you narrow your focus. You begin to scrutinize the chaotic marks. Slowly, painstakingly, you start to discern faint repetitions, subtle connections, and emerging patterns within the jumble. What once seemed like a meaningless scribble begins to reveal itself as a complex, intentional script. As these patterns click into place, they transform from abstract symbols into coherent directions. You realize that the quote-unquote random marks are in fact a benevolent map. You mentioned map, Raghunath, right?
Yeah.
Purposely designed to guide you. The scroll, once a symbol of your fragmented and hostile reality, now becomes clear, purposeful, and profoundly helpful. Through this recognition, you not only see the way out of the maze, but you also sense the underlying wisdom and the presence of the designer who laid out both the maze and the guiding message within the marks. Okay. Now,
Very good.
I think what Plotinus was doing
Plotinus.
is he was saying, yes, you need to look in a particular direction. The world, we see it as, the way that he phrased it was he said, when we look outside of that upon which we depend, right? Now, if we go back to the Upanishads, they say, what is it? Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam. Amongst the many eternal beings, there's one eternal being. Amongst the many conscious beings, there's one conscious being. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. The many are dependent on the one. Right? When we look outside of that one great spirit, that one unifying principle of everything, you know, that Lord Vishnu, that Paramatma, that God within the heart. When we look outside of that upon which we depend, then we ignore our unity. We fail to recognize all these connections that are there. We're looking outside, and if we look inward, we can see that one head, that one source of everything. And if we would turn around and see it, here's the directions, you know, turn around and see it, we'll see at once God and oneself and the all. Right? Now, I took this further with ChatGPT, and I think you're going to really like this right now. Right?
Let's go deeper, ChatGPT.
Yes. I said, could you share with me, because this was talking about like breaking codes, essentially, right? I have this scroll.
Yeah.
It appears like it's a random bunch of scribbles. No, there's meaning in it. Have that faith. Go into it with that assumption. So I said, could you share with me principles that people use when they're breaking codes? And if those principles might relate to the analogy we're developing here. Now, the AI, it validated my question, Raghunath.
Oh, good. You're valid. You are valid. Did I not let you know you're valid? You're very, very valid.
Thank you. Thank you. So it said, this is a fantastic question, as the parallels between code breaking and spiritual insight run remarkably deep. Code breakers operate with a set of principles that very much echo the journey from fragmentation to coherence in our analogy. Here are some key principles used in code breaking and how they relate to our maze and hidden map analogy. And my point is, it's relating not only to this analogy, because this analogy is talking about spiritual epiphany, right? How to figure things out based on the assumption that there's meaning to all that I'm experiencing in the world. So here it goes. The first one is the assumption of meaning and intent. This is the foundational faith, right? Code-breaking principle. The absolute first step is in breaking code is the unwavering belief that the jumbled characters are not random, that they were designed to convey a message by an intelligent agent. Without this core assumption, no effort would be made to decipher them, right?
Mm.
That's the difference between the theist and the atheist. The atheist says this is all random and there's no meaning to it. I'm not even going to bother. You're never going to break the code.
Sure. It's just like, it's trying to decipher hieroglyphics. It's just like, these are just little pictures. No. It's a message. It's a secret message.
That's right. Okay. Then the second principle, looking for patterns and repetitions, recognizing underlying order, right? The code-breaking principle, ciphers or codes, no matter how complex, often rely on consistent rules. Code breakers look for recurring symbols, sequences, or structural regularities. In other words, common letter frequencies, or for example, common letter frequencies, common word lengths, grammatical structures. These repetitions are the first cracks in the code, right? And a person, even without looking at Shastra, even without looking at sacred texts, they can look for those kind of micro, macro connections in life and search for meaning in them, right? Now here's the third principle: contextual analysis in known plain text, leveraging existing insight. The code-breaking principle. If a code breaker has any hint about the message's content, I think this is a weather report, or it's a military order, or it's a love letter.
Right.
Or if they know a short phrase that likely appears in the message, it provides immense leverage to deduce the encryption method. And I think Shastra plays a big role in that, or religion or spirituality. It's telling us, hey, there is something, there is a oneness, there is a connection to everything. And knowing that, it helps us break the code of the universal code, right?
Hey, it could be something like AI digging around like this could be what ties all these religions together in the next 2 decades.
It could be.
You know what I mean? It could be something like, oh, wow. I'm a chat GPTing the thing about religion and spirituality and connection. And they say, no, actually, this is all tied together. Check out these books by these other. Very interesting.
Now, two more code-breaking principles. Identifying the key or the rule, in other words, unlocking the unifying principle. This is real important because for us, again, this is Vishnu, right? Vishnu is that key or that rule. He's the unifying principle. Code-breaking principle. The goal isn't just to translate one message, but to understand the underlying algorithm or key that transforms plain text to ciphertext. Once the key is understood, any message using that key can easily be deciphered, right? And this is like straight up Bhagavad Gita, like, the end of the 15th chapter, Krishna describes, I'm behind everything. I'm behind the sun. I'm behind the moon. I'm behind the fire of digestion. I'm
the scent of the earth. I'm the strength of the strong. I'm the ability in man.
Oh, so many things. And then at the end of the 15th chapter, he says, I am the Purushottama, the supreme person behind it all. One who understands this understands everything. And this is, and then when they understand it, they serve me with love, with sarva bhavena, with a full heart, full on love. And that's the greatest secret.
How many more clues do we need?
How many? Come on, it's all right there, right? You got that map. Now for the final one, patience, persistence, and iteration, the journey of discovery. Code-breaking principle. Code-breaking is rarely an overnight success. It requires relentless trial and error, testing hypotheses, refining assumptions, and constantly reevaluating patterns.
It's interesting because if we don't follow this map, our own faulty intelligence, our own polluted mind will create their own maps, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
We have those all the time. We follow our polluted desires.
Right.
I mean, it's obvious that there's things that we desire that we know are going to hurt us. we've done it before. We've played that game before. We go down this road and there's a definitive outcome. We're hoping for a different outcome, but we're going to try it again. And so those maps, it's like a mousetrap. We get caught again and again. So we have these internal maps running, and sometimes they're addictive maps. And so, hey, there's a higher map coming from Lord Vishnu. You break that code and you're on the path to freedom.
Break the code.
Break the code.
And you know, it all began with the assumption that there is some meaning here, right? You will never break a code if you just say, "Oh, that's just a jumble of random characters. It has no meaning."
Right.
You have to go into it, even if you can't prove it. You have to go into it with the assumption that there's a message, that there's meaning, and all the great spiritualists have said, there's a message here, there's a meaning here. Try to decipher it.
Analogy, actually.
It's good stuff, right?
You can't go into, because people try all the time. You know, the Morse code. Did you ever get into Morse code as a kid? That was a whole thing for my
You were
kids.
into that, huh? With your sousaphone.
You
put your
with
sousaphone down.
walkie-talkies?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just gonna make fun of me because I played the sousaphone.
No.
Very
I
funny.
didn't make fun of you.
Yes, you were. I could tell you were making fun of me.
You see, we're going to
I played musical instruments in school. Big deal. I'm a musician.
I'm all for it.
Most of the people listening don't even know that you're making fun of the sousaphone, but I know.
I'm not making fun of it.
Anyway, but my point was there's Morse code. What other codes did we play with as a kid? Oh, how about the in World War II, we used like the Navajo language as a code for the, right? Right, Henry? The Navajo. We used the Navajo language as a code. And they couldn't break that, I don't think. I don't think they could break that code. So yeah, but if you just think, these American war pilots are just babbling, you're never going to break the code.
Right.
There is actually a code. There's a sequence. There's context.
Yeah.
There's everything you were just mentioning. But you got to first believe that it is something. It's just not babbling. And what they say, or material science says, is just random. The reason why flowers are pretty is random. The reason why the sun rises every time and things on a schedule, it's random. The reason why there's beauty and there's life and it's all random.
No, there's a message there.
There's a message. Be a decoder.
Yeah, and get yourself out of the maze of birth and death, right? Recognize that there's meaning, how we're born, how we grow, how we reproduce, how we grow old and become diseased and ultimately die, how the sun rises every morning and sets, and all the different patterns that we all share and we all go through in life. Yeah. There's a message, there's something to be learned.
And that even illusion, which we all fall for again and again, is an energy of that supreme being.
Yeah. Yes.
And why do we get that? Because you want it. Yeah. We want, isn't that interesting? We want illusion, so Krishna gives it to us. And if you don't want it, he'll remove it.
There you go.
But you gotta not want it.
Like you gotta not want it, Mara. Please.
You gotta not want it.
Okay. Now, let's get into Bhagavatam. We gotta move if we're gonna cover this. But
I know. Well, you took up a lot of time with that. It was very good.
Okay.
It was very good, but you did take up a lot of time.
Come on, let's break the universal code together here with Bhagavatam. You ready?
Yeah. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatojayam mudiraya. Before we started the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmadatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes. With the torchlight of knowledge, I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 10, Chapter 3, Text 12.
Text 12.
We're still in the birth of Lord Krishna.
He's about to be born right now, or he just got born. He just got
born. We were describing like this is no ordinary birth.
Not ordinary.
right?
Yeah.
Ordinary births are
Ordinary.
ordinary, require lots of moaning and
A little messy.
little messy. Yeah, yes. Been there.
Okay.
Been there. Delivered all my kids. I was there.
There you
Well,
go.
I didn't deliver them, but I was there. I was part of the team.
Were you
When
like an
when I
active
say part of the team, I meant in the corner of the room, shaking, crying,
Whimpering,
chanting under my breath.
fainting, dizzy?
I was the one doing the moaning.
Were you in a fetal position?
To encourage the child, I was in a fetal
I see.
position,
His connections there. Right?
sucking my thumb.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's tough to witness that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never witnessed birth like that. Animals, occasionally, a couple times, but
A couple times you've witnessed animals giving birth?
Yes,
Tell me.
like cows.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ever see a cat? I've seen cats give birth, dogs give birth.
Okay, we
cows
got
give
stuff to
birth.
cover here.
All right. Well, this is all interesting stuff.
All the squirrel. I'm just as guilty as you here.
Thank you. Text 12. O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of King Bharat, Vasudev could understand that this child was the supreme personality of Godhead Narayan.
I mean, he had 4 arms. He was fully decorated. He was special.
Yeah. By the way, Vasudev is the father, but Vasudev means the son of Vasudev. In case you're confusing those two names.
Vasudev is the father. Vasudeva is Krishna.
Vasudev, like with a
Son of
long A,
Vasudev.
it means the son of Vasudev. Having concluded this, without a doubt, he became fearless. Right? You see Lord Narayan, you see Lord Vishnu, anxiety goes away. Everything becomes right. You break the code.
He's breaking the
Kaustubha,
code. Yeah,
you become fearless.
He's seeing the one.
You want fear? If you're fearing, that is a sign of your faithlessness.
Yeah.
Fearfulness means faithlessness. Okay? Breathing through your mouth. Some people breathe through the mouth when they're scared, when they're in anxiety.
Okay.
Breathing through mouth means faithlessness in God.
Okay.
Everyone's like, "What?" Even if you have a deviated septum, it means your whole life you're in fear. O Maharaj Parikshit, O descendant of King Bharat. Wait.
No, well, you haven't read the whole verse yet.
Oh, the bowing down with folded hands and concentrating his attention, he began to offer prayers to the child who illuminated his birthplace by his natural influence. So the Lord is naturally effulgent.
Yeah.
All right. So imagine you're in a dungeon. What is a dungeon like?
Dark,
moldy,
dank.
wet, dank, cold, cool. Probably nice and cool, actually. You know,
Well, it could be cold.
it could be cold, but it's very hot there in Mathura. So maybe it's
It's a good place to
maybe
be.
it's pleasantly cool.
Okay.
You know, it's
Or
like,
maybe
thank
it's
God.
really stuffy and like humid in there, and there's no airflow.
It could be stuffy if there was no airflow because you can't make
Anyway.
requests in a dungeon.
Okay.
Can we get some more airflow down here?
Excuse me.
Can they bring in a fan?
Can we get a fan down here? right?
Vasudev with
AC?
like a fan in the.
I understand that we might not get AC down here, but at least a fan
How
would be
about a
helpful.
fan?
Could someone open a window, please?
Could someone remove these bars? Okay. So anyway, they're in the dungeon.
Yeah.
It's cool and it's dark. And all of a sudden, this light of Lord Vishnu comes and illuminates. Like, wow, I can see things I couldn't see. Oh, look, I can see there needs to be some dusting and some grime removal. With the light on, you start to see, you know?
Okay. Yes, Raghunath. And so now he's seeing Vishnu. His own child is Vishnu somehow. And he's referred to here as Narayana, right? Nara refers to like mankind, you could say, right?
Yeah.
Ayana means you could say the refuge, right? So Narayana means the ultimate refuge, right?
What a great name, the refuge of man. Huh?
And then it also mentions prabhava vit. He could now understand. Vit means like to be aware of, right? To understand, to be aware of. Prabhava. He could understand the influence of Narayana, right? And therefore, Gatabhi, all his fear disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, up until this moment, there's a lot for him to be fearful about. I'm trapped in a dungeon with
I'm in
my
a dungeon.
wife.
I'm in chains. My wife's in chains. All the kids are guy. There's these guards. They're not nice.
This child that was
They
just
don't feed us
born,
well here.
this
We could,
all my
there's
children are being.
malnutrition. There could be sickness.
Okay, Raghunath, all my children have been killed one by one, and this child that was just born could be killed as
Yeah.
well? No. He recognized, no, this is Narayana. This is the refuge of all living beings, right? And he's got this unlimited influence, right?
Everything's going to work out.
Everything's going to work out. And
Right.
in
Sometimes you get these spiritual feelings like, you know what? This is meant to be. You know what? Whatever I'm going through, this is a blessing. This is where he's at right now.
Yeah. And this idea of the fear dissipating, right? Like, in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked this question when he first starts getting into his questions, what are describe to me, the qualities of an enlightened sage, He says, how do they walk? How do they sit? Like that. How are they when they're active? How are they when they're inactive? What are their symptoms? What is their mindset like? And Krishna uses a phrase, and this is verse 256 of the Bhagavad Gita. He says, in that phrase is Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, right? Without Raga, attachment, Bhaya, fear, Krodha, anger. He says, Stita Dirmuni Uchate. This is the sage. That person is called a sage of steady mind. Right? Now that's an interesting description of spirituality, right? We talk about spirituality. This is what it looks like. It means you're free of attachments, you're free of fear, and you're free of anger. And then later in the 4th chapter, Krishna is going to repeat that phrase in the 10th verse. But now he's doing it in a whole different context, where he takes it from Vedanta to like Bhakti Vedanta, right? Because in text 9 of the 4th chapter, he says, one who knows, and this is really appropriate with what we're studying now, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth here again in this material world, but attains to my eternal abode, O Arjuna. And then he says, being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, right? What are you doing?
Just talk. I'm trying to focus. I've got eye issues.
Okay. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, he's saying, right? And in taking refuge in me, Narayana, right? Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me. They broke the code. They understood everything, and thus they attained transcendental love for me. I recognize that not only is there meaning to everything that's happening in this universe, but there's a Purushottama, there's a supreme Narayana behind it all. And that I can connect with that being, sarva bhavena, with a heart full of love. Now it's taking Vedanta and taking it to the platform of Bhakti Vedanta, which is like the greatest secret of Vedanta, right? And there's this divine love. He's feeling that right now. Vasudeva is feeling that, right? I'm going to have a child. Whoa, this isn't an ordinary child. Whoa. This child is Lord Narayan himself.
Whoa! All my fear is gone.
He's the all. He's the one. He's the one that connects everything. What question is there of fear? I'm present behind the unifying principle of everything. Just understanding this, I've cracked the code. Right? All right. Text 13.
Text 13, Vasudeva said, my Lord, you are the supreme person beyond material existence, and you are the super soul. Your form can be perceived by transcendental knowledge, by which you can be understood as the supreme personality of Godhead. I now understand your position perfectly.
Everything's becoming clear. Right?
Yeah. Text 14.
I think Plotinus, he understood that someone could have this kind of epiphany.
Yeah. My Lord, you are the same person who in the beginning created this material world by his personal external energy. After the creation of this world, of the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, you appear to have entered it, although in fact you have not.
Okay, this is important, right? He's understanding how everything's tied together. I'm going to read from the commentary. You ready, Raghu?
Yeah.
So Srila Prabhupada writes in his Bhaktivedanta purports, Vasudeva was aware that although the Lord had appeared as his son, the Lord had not entered Devaki's womb and then come out. Rather, the Lord was always there. The Supreme Lord is all-pervading, present within and without. Pravista eva bhavyase. He only seemed to have entered the womb of Devaki and to have now appeared as Vasudev's child. You know, in other words, that oneness is present everywhere, right? It wasn't like he had to come from some outside place. We can also learn. It's just like, you know, you look into milk, you know, the paneer is in there, you know, the ghee is in there. It's spread out all over throughout it, you know. It's not that someone dropped it in.
A nice analogy.
Oh, you like that?
You got to figure out a code to get it out. How do you get the ghee out of the milk?
Churn.
There's a code.
Yeah.
There's a code you got to break.
Right.
You know, and how do you figure that out? You got to ask somebody who knows the code.
Right. Yeah. Like for instance, if someone said, "Hey, I'm looking for some curd, but there's none anywhere." No, look right there in that milk.
It's not in the milk. I don't see it.
Yeah, there's no milk.
A code. You got to break it. You got to know. You got to believe, Kaustubha. You got to believe that there's curd in there first.
Thank you, Raghunath. You got to believe.
You know.
Yeah. And then to someone that knows it, it's obvious. No. The curd is right there in the milk. Right? It's right there. It's obvious. Yeah. No, it's not. I can see. There's no evidence whatsoever of it.
I mean, imagine someone speaking. You hear a different language for the first time. You're like, what are these people saying? They're just making noise.
Yeah. No.
That's like that's how we relate with animals. They're like, they're just mooing. No, they're not. They're talking to each other.
Okay.
There's communication going on. You think the bees are also talking, Kaustubha? Every being, the plants are communicating. You just don't know the code.
Do you know the code?
You know what, Kaustubha? I'd rather leave that private.
Okay.
I've got private information on these animals, and you have to just, when you spend time with animals, then you start to understand their code. You crack the code.
So you do. You have cracked the code.
Well, I'm not going to share that. These are I'm not going to share my private life with you. Not all of it. I don't know if you're ready for it.
Well, that's why I have to spend all this time with ChatGPT, because you don't share.
I'm going to talk to you. Communicate to the trees. You want to be a good botanist? You got to learn how to speak to the trees, Kaustubha.
Right. You're a whisperer.
I'm a tree word. I am. Mara's a plant singer. She sings to the plants.
Does she really?
So healthy.
What do you sing, Mara?
You got to talk to them, Mara. You can't just plant them.
No, I talk to.
Plants are people too, Mara.
We want to hear your song, Mara.
The song to the plants.
Only for the plants' ears.
The Mara Gita.
She does it. She does it in plant language.
Yeah, I don't think you fully understand. Shall we get into some takeaways?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to give you more. Plants are people too. That was
I think Mara may have broken the universal code.
She might have. You know why? She's very loving. And that is the universal code. Kaustubha.
Love is the code.
I love it.
Hear that, and take that in, Kaustubha. That's
I'm the one that said it.
No, but you said
still,
it.
You need to
hearing from us, and now you've imbibed our message. Good for you.
Thank you.
Learned that you broke the code.
Thank you, Raghunath.
You're welcome.
The more we look outward, the more fragmented it seems.
Yeah. The world seems very fragmented right now.
Yeah, I know. It's like
politically, socially.
Frankenstein.
Reconnect with source for wholeness and overcoming fear.
Try to reconnect a little, Raghunath, okay?
Source. Believe, Kaustubha. Just believe.
Fear dissipates when we understand divine intelligence.
Poof.
Puff. Puff.
Assume there's meaning in the scribbles.
It's just going, you're never going to figure out, at least theoretically, give it a try.
Hieroglyphics.
It's not random. Be a decoder.
Be a decoder.
Decode.
Get a decoder ring.
Yeah. Ring around the Rosie.
Rosie, the bionic maid.
It's not that we need to add more. We need to turn around.
There you go. Just turn around.
There you go. Just look inside.
Narrow down the focus. Crying
look
out
inside,
loud.
Kaustubha.
Okay.
Understand the key to decipher everything.
Turn the key.
The decoder
Turn.
ring.
Turn the key.
Fearfulness means faithlessness.
Ooh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
And
And
We got more than that. See, what I do is I
I was
hear the
tired of
nugget
them.
and I make a more.
you
You
need to
have to
turn
take
all
nugget
the
out of the
nuggets
nugget.
into one nugget.
I'm like ghee. You're butter. Good. Butter's good. I'm ghee. I'm taking the butter,
It's
taking
better.
it up a notch.
Who? Mara?
No, I am.
No, him.
No, who's the butter? Who's the ghee?
You're the butter.
He's
Pour
the
your
ghee.
milk. She's the butter. I'm the ghee.
He's the ghee.
I'm the milk. She's the butter. You're the ghee.
Yeah.
All right.
Milk is good. Butter.
But ghee
Butter's
is
good.
golden.
Ghee is gold.
How did you become the ghee?
Because I'm taking the nugget and making a more concise nugget.
Did
A
you?
more weighty nugget. I'm maple candy. You're a tree. Trees are good. She's syrup. Get it? I'm the maple candy. When you boil the syrup,
But I don't think you did
We wouldn't
that.
have any of it without the tree, though.
I know, and that's why we're all interdependent. No
Okay.
one's better than the other, Kaustubha.
Thank you for
Look-
saying
look-
that.
look what I've
Raghunath. I feel
learned.
so much better.
This is what I've learned from Kaustubha. He does this very peculiar moving finger thing.
No, that comes from Babu.
Babu.
Okay. And Mara. And
And
Chuta says he thinks you're the ghee.
well,
Okay, we know what side you're on
One
now,
isn't
Chuta.
better than the other. You were just telling us that a moment ago.
Raghu says believe.
Believe. Oh, Raghu says
Believe.
believe. I think
Oh,
that should be a T-shirt right there.
Raghu says believe.
Yeah,
or just
like
believe?
Frankie says, relax.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Raghu says believe. What do you say? Question. Question repeatedly.
Yeah, yeah. Don't believe. Don't believe a thing.
Never believe a thing. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's gonna be
Oh,
a
we broke
magical
the.
day.
I think we kind of broke the universal code today, Raghunath. We broke it.
Love is the. How about love is the code breaker?
Maybe love is the message in the code.
You know, I hung out with the other day. I hung out with my good friend MC Yogi.
MC Yogi.
MC Yogi me hanging.
Thank you for dropping that name. Wow, you're cool. What's the point? Is there
Like
anything
that?
coming from that? You got anything? Or did you just want to give us that
Augie,
image?
Thank you. Someone said Augie. Okay. Oh, Cheetah said Augie.
Ali Ghee.
Oh, Ali Ghee. Oh, okay. He didn't say Augie.
Thinks
still thinks
Muhammad
Kaustubha's the
Ali
ghee.
is Ghee.
Muhammad Ali. Hey, Shamali, come say hello.
Shamali, let's get her over here.
Let's get
I knew
Shamali.
Shamali when she was just a little girl dressed up like a princess wandering around.
Come here. Say
Little
something.
tiara
Say
on.
something, Shamali.
Haribo, sweet soul.
Shamali, she's inspired. She's happy. She's doing well.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
Yeah. Did you have a good time in our Shaker Village yesterday?
Oh my God, I'm in love with this place.
Shaker Village, huh?
Well, we took her to the Shaker Village, her and her beau, for a Japa walk. Little Japa walk, little Japa talk.
Yeah. Nice, nice. How far is the Shaker Village from you?
10 minutes. You want to shake it up? Pick
is
some
it
mushrooms
10
with
minutes
us,
away? How
Kaustubha?
far away is it? It's like you have to drive an hour to get
10
there?
minutes. 10 minutes!
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I didn't.
Oh, it's 10 minutes.
Okay.
But they make you wear togas. I'm kidding. I will take you to the Sufi meditation place where you'll have an outer body experience unless you're very rooted in your lower chakras.
Do they have, like,
Otherwise,
Do they have like these big long clay pipes and it's like they would smoke it and then break off the end and then that kind of, you've seen that
what are you
kind of
talking
thing?
about?
I don't know. I remember seeing things like that and it, somehow I have it connected with like
Sufis or Shakers?
shakers.
The Shakers, I'm not sure if the Shakers have clay pipes. I know they do a ritual dance together, which I can teach you, which I've been studying from their drawings.
Is that where the shaker name came from?
They shake like the Quakers quake, they shake.
Alright.
Their theme song is Shake It Up, Baby.
Why don't we start another group called the Fakers?
The Fakers.